Hi, hello everyone. This is Ameer, your physics educator at Unacademy, and those who love me more, they simply call me Bhaiya, isn't it? Right. Now tell me how much happy you all are because you all have done with your weekends, and here we are to start a very new week. And there is more speciality to this class. How many of you know what is the speciality of today's class? It's very simple. Today, we are going to start a very new chapter for the 12th standard, which is the modern physics. We know that we have three chapters, which we together call it as modern physics, है ना? Which is the dual nature, ठीक है, atoms, and then comes nuclei. So we are going to cover all these chapters under the heading of modern physics, and today will be the first class, and I want every one of you from the beginning till the end of this particular class because let's make this particular entire chapter very simple and let's score 100% of marks from all these chapters. So once again, Bacha log, hello, hi everyone. Tell me how many of you are ready to grab that 100% of marks from modern physics in the chat box. Hi honey, Sudeep, hi. Kings, Nisha. अरे मेरा दिन तो बहुत बढ़िया था. It was so good, so awesome. What about you all? Hi Jia, with full of energy I can see you there. Tell me how was your weekend, how was your day going on, right? I think you'll be having so much to tell once you are with the very first day of your week, right? Which is Monday. So tell me, how's the Monday blues going on? Are you all ready to come back with a big bang on studies? Tell me everything. I want to know everything about what is happening around you. Today was my physics periodic exam, sir. So how did it go, Sudeep? I hope it went well, है ना? Because we are doing a preparation in such a way that you should be getting 100%. Right, honey? Nisha, Ajit, Simran, Shweta, honey. Okay, so much happy to see every one of you here, mera bacha log. ठीक है? Now, if you are seeing me for the very first time, a bit of introduction about myself. I hope you all can see it on the screen, right? I have an experience of more than 3.5 years in the field of teaching JEE, NEET and board student. I am a BTech graduate from NIT Calicut in mechanical engineering, and let's say that is all about me. One more thing, bacha log, right? If you are seeing me for the very first time, you might not be knowing that. I am from Kerala. So I'm not so good with the language of Hindi. Okay, मुझे थोड़ा थोड़ा पता है, लेकिन the level of my Hindi language is not in a way that I can explain the concepts to you in Hindi. ठीक है? So we'll have the conceptual explanation and related things in English, but है ना, हमारा बीच में थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बातें करेगा. I think that's what you say. I hope that Hindi is correct. ठीक है? And obviously I'll try to improve my Hindi a lot, and I think you all will be helping me for the same. ठीक है? Proceeding further. देख ले. Now I'm showing you what we are going to do in this entire week, mera bacha log. So tomorrow, which is on 25th, we'll be having the class for 11th. Okay, and on 26th, we'll be having the second lecture of this dual nature chapter. ठीक है, second lecture modern physics का हो जाएगा on Wednesday at the same time of 8 p.m. And on 28th, which is Friday, what we have? The Mega Mendy quiz, where we'll be doing the questions from EM waves, ray optics and wave optics. So let's see how much we have learned this particular chapters, right? Okay, let's prepare in the best way possible for term 2, and I want all my bacha log to grab maximum marks for this term 2 examination. Okay, ठीक है, देख ले. Now, if you don't want to miss the live classes from any of your favorite teachers on YouTube, you can be a part of the Telegram channel. Link इधर भी दे दिया and also in the description box पे. ठीक है? Fine. Now, Bugs Bounty, what it is, mera bacha log? It's an amazing program. What will help you to get? It will help you to get lot much of prizes. कैसे? Description box पे जाइए, you will find a link. Fill the form if you are finding any inappropriate content in the videos uploaded by Unacademy. If it is valid, क्या मिल जाएगा आप लोगों को? बहुत सारा prizes मिल जाएगा, like I said. ठीक है? So don't miss your opportunity. अरे, when you talk about prizes, this is your best chance. मतलब Unacademy Combat scholarship test मेरा बच्चा लोग. Now, if you write the scholarship test, you are going to get so much of benefits and so much of prizes in your hand. If you are not writing, let me tell you, you will be missing a lot. Shall I tell you, if you are one among the first 3 ranks, what are you going to get? Is it some simple certificates? No. You are going to get the gold medal. If you are the first rank, for the second rank, silver medal mil jayega, and for the rank 3 mil jayega aap logon ko bronze medal. Don't miss this opportunity. I haven't complete, dekh le. For the first rank to 3, है ना, 1 to 3, you'll be given 1 year of Unacademy Plus subscription. फिर भी for the first 25 rankers certificate मिल जाएगा for other people till a rank of 150 scholarships are given मेरे बच्चा लोग किसको wait कर रहा है and just like adding more and more happiness to this particular scholarship test is at this test and it's completely free of cost. You don't have to be a plus member, iconic member, kuch bhi nahi. You can be a part of this completely for free, and you have to know that the code that you have to use to be a part of the scholarship test is AMB10. ठीक है, ये use कर ले, you can be a part of the scholarship test completely for free मेरे बच्चा लोग. Okay. Now this is the time where I want every one of you to share the class to all your friends jaldi se jaldi fatafat. Okay, Mithilesh, Jia, Sumit, okay, every one of you just share the class to all your friends and tell them that Bhaiya has started the new chapter of modern physics. Okay, I don't want any one of you to miss the classes. Okay, so tell everyone jaldi se share kar le and ask them to be a part of this class as soon as possible. Okay, fine. Okay, now in the meanwhile, whoever is new here, I'll explain about this Unacademy Plus subscription platform, okay, or what all features you're going to enjoy once you're there. Nowadays we are learning through YouTube, right? Okay, and obviously I say to all my students that it's an amazing thing, but there are some students, right, or just like many of you would love to get that personal guidance and personal mentoring directly from the educators, right? This is only possible in the platform because in the platform we have live chat sessions, okay, whenever a live class happens. On top of it, we have a question box where you can put all your questions and doubts, and the educator will be solving your doubts in the live class itself. Let's say still your doubt is not cleared. Is there any way to get it cleared? Yes. There is an option called as in-class calling facility. Matlab you can call your educator, talk to your educator during the live class, get your doubts cleared. Kya chahiye? What else you need than this? Matlab having a class with zero doubts, that will be the dream of every student, and that dream can come true once you are a part of the Plus platform. More than that, top educators of the country will be there to teach you. Because of their amazing and wonderful experience, they will be able to tell you what all questions or examination pattern you should be expecting. Okay? What all numericals and other questions you have to do so that you can make the best preparation for the upcoming term 2 examination. You just follow them. Obviously, you lays in all the examinations what you write. One thing. Okay? And the second thing is that you will be ending up in the colleges whatever you're dreaming about. Aur kya chahiye? Okay. Then to boost your confidence, study material, practice test, live test series, everything will be there. Now, if you go for 12 months, it will cost you 1,250 per month. Fine. And if you ask me, sir, do we need to pay that much? Bilkul nahi. Because we have our code. Code kya hai? AMB10. Get 10% of discount and maximum offers while you make the subscription. Fine. Okay. Moving on. Now we have iconic subscription. Yeah, iconic subscription. Here we'll get all the features of Plus, plus some extra features, additional super great features which can help you with your academics and your learning in the best way possible, such as personal mentor. But nowadays you'll be spending a lot much of time on your planning and academic planning. Now this person will be there. He'll be planning everything out for you, what to study, how to study, everything. Okay? So you can save a lot of time and you can use that time for learning your stuff. So you'll feel so cool, so confident, so relaxed when this person is there assigned to you. Live doubt solving classes, weekly reports, everything is going to make you super great in your learning process. It will help you to better in a very great way, let's say. Now if you go for 12 months, it will cost you 2,333 per month. Okay? And I know that everyone would love a 10% of discount. Use kar le hamara code AMB10. Fine. Now Republic Day special offer is going on, right? If you make the subscription within 2 days, between 25th, from tomorrow to 27, right? You will be given extra 6 months. If you go for 12 months of subscription, 6 months extra will be given. So your total subscription period will be for 18 months. Wow, baap re. 10% discount के लिए आपको पता है already. I already have told you. हमारा code है AMB10 use कर ले. Fine. Okay. Now one last thing मेरा बच्चा लोग, special class चल रहा है. ये तो completely free है. Now you can all enroll for this special class where from this same chapter of dual nature we are going to do lot many problems. Fine. And this will be happening on Thursday at 4:30. Don't miss it. If you want to enroll, ये special class है बच्चा लोग. ठीक है, ये free भी है. So jaldi se jaldi click on the link which is pinned on top of that chat box. You all can part of this particular special class completely for free. One more link is given, that is to my Unacademy profile. Okay, you can be a part of that also, so that all my special classes you will be getting the notifications. ठीक है? ठीक है मेरे बच्चा लोग. So बोल दे, are you all ready for the session to get started? बोल दो ना जरा जल्दी. ध्रुव, रोहिणी, okay, Likith, Mithilesh, Jia, let's start, right? Obviously, we're gonna start. Everyone, just tell me, are you all ready for the session to get started for this new chapter, right? If you all are ready, aapka bhaiya bhi bilkul ready, we'll start the class. We are ready, Honey, Sumit, Nisha. Okay, everyone is like, sir, let's go. Likith, Sai, bacha log, aur kya? Okay. Fine. Let's get started. Fine. Now, here we're going to start a very new chapter, which is the dual nature of matter and radiation. Naya chapter hai, modern physics. As I have told, we have 3 chapters. Okay? First, we'll start with the dual nature of matter and radiation. Everyone write the heading. Dual nature of radiation and matter, or matter or radiation, whatever. Okay? And then we'll go for atoms, and finally, we'll be ending modern physics with nuclear. Okay? After that, we'll only be left with one single chapter of semiconductors. Okay, so obviously we can end our syllabus within the mid of Feb or something, or let's say 25th of Feb something. We can finish our syllabus, which is an obvious amazing thing. ठीक. Now let's get started. पूछ ले बच्चा लोग, what are we going to learn in this particular chapter of dual nature of matter and radiation? Okay, everyone try to read what is given here. You can have at least 10 to 20% of idea what we are going to learn in this particular chapter. Just go through, okay? Just read in a very fast pace what is written here for dual nature. Okay, 10 seconds I'll give you. Let me see who's the fastest reader here. कौन है बहुत तेजी से who can read? हो गया? Last 5. Okay, so I think you might got an idea. Hi, shall I give you my own explanation what we are going to learn? देख ले. The chapter itself has a heading as dual nature of radiation and matter. देख ले, radiation मतलब क्या है? Radiation का मतलब क्या है बच्चा लोग? Radiation or EM waves, right? Electromagnetic waves. One of the best example that we know, one of the best radiation that we know, we started learning about it from 6th standard or 5th standard, with which we are able to see this entire world, light, isn't it? Now, radiation, tell me how the light will be transferring energy from one point to another point, right? Okay, we all know that light has confirmed nature, that it has the wave nature, you know? The light has wave nature. How we confirm that light is having the wave nature, or energy, light energy is being carried from one point to another point in the form of wave nature? How? We know that in the previous chapter, wave optics, right? We have learned that light can undergo interference. Interference can only happen whenever light is considered as a wave. Light can undergo diffraction. If diffraction has to happen, it should be having the wave nature. So light is considered as a wave throughout. Matlab, obviously, it's confirmed that light is having the wave nature. But in this particular chapter, we will learn that light or any radiation is not only possessed by the wave nature, it is also possessed by particle nature. Matlab, it means that light can also exert momentum, or light will also be possessed by momentum. Chalo. We know that the property of momentum is only associated with the particle, right? I have a ball in my hand. I'm throwing to the wall. We know that the ball can exert a momentum on the wall because ball is a particle. Similarly, we'll see that the radiation of the light or the light will also be associated with a particle nature. It will also be having a momentum associated with it. And obviously, it is about this particular part we'll be learning in this particular session. ठीक है? And that experiment, which proved that light has the particle nature is photoelectric effect, EFFECT. ठीक है. Okay, so it is the photoelectric experiment which has proved that the light has the particle nature, and it is that particular experiment which is going to be the complete discussion of today's class, and it is very important. And once you get the initial idea, learning the remaining part is going to be super simple. ठीक है. Are we only going to learn this? Not at all. देख ले, I am taking the case of an electron. Electron, it is confirmed that it is a particle, right? Electron has the particle nature because it has momentum. But in this particular chapter, we learned that particles are also associated with what? With the wave nature. And this is explained in the concept of de Broglie's wavelength. DEBROGLIES. Okay. In de Broglie's hypothesis, we will learn that the particle is associated with the wave nature. Okay. And that we'll be doing in the next class. Our topic of today's session is going to be on this particular topic. Fine. You can just write a short note on it, what we're going to learn in today's class. ठीक है. Simple सा, नन्ना सा, मुन्ना सा, प्यारा सा टॉपिक है. I want every one of you to give complete concentration. दे दूंगा ना सबने, and you can note it down also. नोट कर ले सब. हाय हाय खुशबू, हाय लेकित, हाय हनी. ठीक है. नोट किया ना सबने? Now, before we directly enter into what is photoelectric effect, I have to explain you some of the terms, okay, that we should be knowing, or let's say some of the concept we should be knowing for understanding this photoelectric effect. Shall we first get into that, मेरा बच्चा लोग? ठीक है ना? Okay, first we'll go to that. Everyone along with me, first we'll learn about electron emission. Write the heading. क्या है? Electron emission. Okay, what are we going to learn here? We are going to learn that, right, in which all circumstances an electron can be emitted from a metal, okay, and what all aspects and terms that we have to learn from this particular part. Shall we? Everyone, listen to me here. Okay, keep your pen down. Okay, you don't have to write anything for the time being. Just listen. Electron emission. So this is from where the entire story has began related to photoelectric effect. देख ले, we have a metal here. Okay, just like all the other material, metals are made up of atoms. ठीक है, let's say this is the nucleus. Nucleus will be surrounded by so many orbits where electrons are revolving around. देख ले, the very far away orbit, and we have an electron in that particular orbit, which is called as valence electron, because you all are good and better in chemistry than me. ठीक है. Now this electron which is in the valence shell, it is least attracted to nucleus, isn't it? So even if we provide a small amount of energy, we can make this electron to escape from this nuclear force of attraction, and we can make this electron to get emitted from the metal. क्या है? क्या है? What did I say? I just have to provide a small amount of energy to this valence electron. Why small amount of energy? Array, this electron is very far away from the nucleus, है ना? So nucleus will only be providing a small amount of nuclear attraction on this particular electrons. So even a small amount of energy is required to make these electrons to move away from the nuclear force of attraction and to get emitted from the metal. Now, there are different methods to provide energy for that. Do you know what is the first method? That is called as thermal emission. Matlab, for thermal emission of electrons here, we will be providing heat energy. ठीक है? We will be providing heat energy. This heat energy that we provide will be absorbed by this electron. ठीक है? And these electrons will be emitted from the surface of the metal, and this electrons which is emitted, what do we call it? We call it as fermions. दिस emitted electrons का नाम है fermions. समझ में आ गया thermal emission क्या है? Everybody, I think you all can write the definition by yourself. Else देख ले thermal emission क्या होता है? What is it? It is the emission of electrons. Emission of electrons from a metal surface. From a metal surface by absorbing heat energy. Okay, so that is the first method of electron emission. Everybody write it down, it's very important. Okay, ये बहुत 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 बढ़िया important है बच्चा लोग. ठीक है, अनिमेश, विभू, उज्जवल, सिमरन, विश्वजीत. अरे everyone is like हिंदी में बोलिए. अरे बच्चा लोग, let me tell you, once you enter into your colleges, all the lectures is gonna be in English. So try practicing from now onwards. That is one thing. ठीक है. Second thing is that मेरे बच्चा लोग, अरे I'm not so good with हिंदी, मुझे उतना तो नहीं आता है, तो मैं क्या करूँ? Dandan, Rohini, Sumit, noted. ठीक है. Okay, actually I'll take a class from every one of you for Hindi. Okay, ठीक है, fine. ठीक है. Now we are moving forward. So one thing is done, which is thermal emission. Next what we have to learn is बच्चा लोग field emission. ठीक है. Let's see ये field emission क्या होता है? होता क्या है? What is it? Field emission. Now what we will do is we'll take a small metal like this and we'll keep the small metal in between a potential difference. To provide potential difference, let us take a small plate. Okay, give some potential. मतलब give this as positive potential, this as a negative potential. ठीक है. And we know that an electric field exists. From where to where? Electric field exists from positive towards the negative. Right? Okay. Now, a heavy potential or a field is being applied between the plates, and it is in this region we keep the metal. अरे metal पे बहुत सारा free electrons है. ठीक है, बहुत सारा free electrons है. ये electron which we were explaining, electrons in the valence shell, which we usually call it as free electrons in the case of metal. If you want, I can write it down. देख ले, free electrons ऐसे free में घूम रहा है पूरा metal पे. Now, once this free electron is there, and once we provide a high value of field, can you tell me what happens? अरे electron है, negative charge है. This negative charge will be attracted towards this positively charged. Same time, this negative and negative will repel and will be producing a force in the same direction. Right? So what will happen? There is a better chance that this electron from the metal or surface of the metal will be pulled out. Okay, and it will be making a motion here, or electron will be emitted in the presence of a very high electric field. समझ में आ गया? इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड हम दे दिए, ठीक है, इलेक्ट्रॉन बाहर आ गया, ठीक है, इसका नाम है field emission. The emission of electrons in the presence of a very high electric field, we call it as field emission. I can write it down. देख लीजिए क्या है? Field emission. And what is it? Emission of electrons. Emission of electrons from a metal surface when kept between high electric field. ठीक है, वो होता है field emission. So we have learned two emission of electrons. First one is thermal emission, दूसरा वाला है field emission. ठीक है, have a look at it, take a screenshot. These were the initial two things, and now we are entering into the super important thing which is so much required for us. ठीक है, आज का हमारा टॉपिक पे जा रहा है. I hope you all can see है ना? देख ले. हो गया बात, नोट भी कर दिया सबने? ओके, डन डन बच्चा लोग. नाउ वी विल मूव टू द थर्ड टाइप ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन एमिशन. ठीक है, फाइन. वो क्या होता है थर्ड वन? क्या होता है? अरे दैट इज द कोर टॉपिक दैट वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न इन टुडेज क्लास, व्हिच इज फोटोइलेक्ट्रिक एमिशन. एवरीवन, क्या होता है? फोटो इलेक्ट्रिक emission. Photo corresponds to light. So who will be providing the energy for the emission of electrons from the metal surface? कौन? अरे photons, मतलब light will be giving. So I think everybody might have guessed क्या होता है. देख ले, ये हमारा metal surface है. On the surface of metal बहुत सारा free electrons है. कौन है? बहुत सारा free electrons are waiting, and to these free electrons we are giving light energy. ठीक है, light energy will be provided, will be given to these electrons. Electron will absorb those energy and electrons will be emitted out. ठीक है, and this process we call it as photoelectric emission, and this electrons emitted we call it as photoelectrons. कौन है ये photoelectrons है. Okay, electrons emitted we call it as photoelectrons, and this entire process we call it as photoelectric emission, है ना. And this concept is called as photoelectric effect. मतलब the ability of the light to knock out the electrons from the surface, we call it as photoelectric effect. What is it? Shall I write it? What is photoelectric effect? देख ले. The ability of what? The ability of light. For what purpose? To knock out. अरे knock out क्या है? सर कोई फाइट चल रहा है क्या? अरे knock out मतलब to take those electrons from the surface, है ना. So the ability of light to knock out electrons from metal surface is called, what do we call it? अरे क्या उसका नाम क्या है? It is called as photoelectric effect, which we are going to learn in this particular entire class. This is what we are going to learn in today's class. ठीक है, बहुत important है. समझ में आ गया सबको? ओके, आ गया समझ सबको? लेट मी कॉल मिथिलेश, उज्जवल, अनैरा, संस्कार, सिमी, तन्मय. अरे वाह मिथिलेश, यू ऑलरेडी सेट द आंसर ऑफ द डेफिनेशन फॉर फोटोइलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट. बढ़िया बढ़िया. ओके फाइन, नोटेड. सुमित, निशा, अरे बच्चा लोग, you guys are awesome, you guys are the best, let's call it. कोई भी डाउट है तो this is your chance, because we'll be entering into the topic. Yes, श्वेता, रोनी, खुशबू, मिथिलेश, noted in mind. ठीक है फिर, बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया. Okay, yes, बहुत beautiful. Now we'll continue. देख ले. Now चलो, if I'm giving light of any energy, will these electrons be emitted? अरे ऐसा नहीं है. Okay, electrons has, it is so proud enough, just like let's say a small marriage function is happening in your neighborhood. You'll be only be going if you're invited. Or is it like when you get the sweet smell from the biryani, है ना, you'll be like, अरे कुछ ना कुछ हो जाए, let me go and eat the biryani. किसको जान, who is gonna note, है ना? Because when I was kid and I used to do this, पता नहीं आजकल क्या होता रहता है, because biryani is one of my favorite food. ठीक है, let's not go with that. What I wanted to say is, right, for a marriage, a person will only be going if it gets the invitation, right? So here in this case, the electrons will only be emitted with certain condition. क्या है condition? This is a condition that the incoming light should be possessing a minimum of energy. ठीक है, a minimum energy has to be brought by this particular light to knock out this electron. ऐसे नहीं जाएगा electron, थोड़ा minimum energy चाहिए. And what do we call that minimum energy? That is called as work function. What do we call it? That is called as the work function phi naught of a metal. मतलब a metal should be given a minimum amount of energy for the electrons to get emitted from it. That minimum energy we call it as work function. Which means I wanted to say, let's say the work function or for this particular metal is 2 electron volt. You all know electron volt is another unit of energy, right? Those who don't know the conversion rate, it is 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joule. मतलब बहुत छोटा unit है. Okay, so here in this photoelectric effect and all, we'll be using that chota wala unit of energy, which is electron volt. ठीक है. What I wanted to say is, let's say this metal is having a work function. मतलब to this metal, we have to give a chota amount of energy, and the minimum amount of energy we have to give is 2 electron volt. ठीक है. And this incoming light, let's say it has 5 electron volt of energy. Well, photoelectric effect happens. मतलब will photoelectrons be emitted? Yes, because the incoming light has an energy greater than work function. Now let me ask you the same question. The incoming light has only 1.5 electron volt of energy, whereas the work function is 2 electron volt. Will the electrons be emitted? Will the electrons be emitted, मेरा बच्चा लोग? Tell me. Enaira, Sanskar, Mithilesh, Saloni, मतलब work function 2 है, example है, I'm just taking an example. ठीक है, and light is bringing 1.5 electron volt. हो जाएगा क्या photoelectric effect? हो जाएगा? Nah, honey, well said, Nisha, very good. It will not happen. क्यों? Because the incoming light has energy lesser than work function. Okay, अब समझ में आ रहा है? Getting the concept, everyone. Garima, let's say, Shweta, let's say. Okay, very good, Ayu, Nisha, Ujjwal, Mithilesh. Very good, awesome. Right? The answer is simply no. नहीं हो जाएगा. Okay, समझ में आ गया ना work function का concept? Everybody, write the heading. Work function क्या है? The minimum energy required by a metal for emission of electrons. ठीक है, and that is simply defined as what, मेरा बच्चा लोग? That is simply called as work function. Okay, it's very important. Have a look at everything. Just go through everything whatever we have learned. If you want to write this example of work function which I have just defined, you can note it down that also. बहुत important है ये. ठीक है, पूरा का पूरा, it's super important. हो गया तो बता दे. Done, right? Okay. Moving on. Okay, अरे छोटा छोटा questions भी है. अरे ये तो नन्ना मुन्ना question है. A photosensitive substance, मतलब a substance, okay, which will be responding to light. That is called as photosensitive substance. Emits dash when illuminated by light. When light falls on it, what will be emitted? Proton, neutron, electrons and protons, only electrons. Simple question, right? I'm not telling this is IIT JEE level or even board level question, but just to make you understand. Just to get the answer from every one of you. Which one it is? Very good. Nisha, Simran, Srishti, right? Sumit, Abhay, Khushbu, Mithilesh. It is electrons, right? The electrons that we emitted, we call it as photoelectrons. है ना? Hi, Preeta. Okay. Sanskar, Shrishti, Muskan. Okay, very good. Awesome. So it is the electron which is basically emitted. We'll move on. There has to be a starting for everything, right? Matlab, the starting of this photoelectric effect, right? Or the first time this photoelectric effect was observed when Heinrich Hertz, I think you might have heard about it, frequency का unit भी hertz है ना, it is named after this particular scientist. So he was actually doing some experiments related to electromagnetic waves. It was during that particular time, first time this photoelectric effect was observed. He was not doing any experiment related to photoelectric effect, but yet, okay, the effect of photoelectric emission was observed during this particular experiment. This was the first time the science world, okay, took a bit of notice on this particular thing. And we know that whenever a new thing is being found out, everyone will be behind. Matlab, we have to learn it, right? All the scientists started to learn. Matlab, they started to make observation, they started to make the study of this photoelectric effect, okay? They started to make the analysis and started to make so much of conclusion. And the best study was conducted by a combination or a group of two scientists, which is Hallberg and Leonard. So we are going to see that particular experiment or a series or a set of experiments conducted by two scientists, Hallberg and Leonard, right, in proving this photoelectric effect, okay, and in completely studying and analyzing this photoelectric effect. So here we are going to learn the Hallberg and Leonard experiment, ठीक and the observation. Fine, shall we? देख ले. Now, in order to study this photoelectric effect, they took some simple chotu setup. मतलब they took a vacuum glass tube. ठीक है? What do they have? A vacuum glass tube they have ऐसे. ठीक है? Two electrodes they have. One is connected to positive, other is connected to negative ऐसे. Fine. Okay, now you know that the electron which is connected to positive is called as anode, okay, which is connected to negative will be cathode. I forgot to draw this thing. In between we are having an ammeter to measure the current here. Okay. What they did, initially this was a setup, this was completely vacuum. मेरा बच्चा लोग ये पूरा का पूरा वैक्यूम था, कुछ भी नहीं था इसके अंदर, कुछ भी नहीं है. It was a simple glass tube and two electrodes were there, and obviously there is no connection. Is the circuit closed here? नहीं, देख ले, it's an open circuit. मतलब there is nothing to connect between these two electrodes here, right? So just like what we have thought, there was no deflection in the current, which simply says, right, there is no current in this particular circuit, just like we imagine, right? But the result was so shocking once the light was made to fall. देख ले what we are going to do and what observation you are going to find. When the light was made to fall on this particular cathode, okay, the entire science world was so shocked to see that the ammeter started to show a deflection. Matlab, it started to flow the current through this particular circuit, though there is no physical connection between these two electrons. ठीक है? And do you know how can we explain this? Very simple. Once the light falls on this particular metal cathode, what will happen? Yes, if this light is having enough frequency, this will make the electrons to get emitted from it. And this emitted electrons will be passing toward the positively charged anode. ठीक है? And thus we can have a complete flow of electrons or charges through the circuit, which produces a current here, and thus the photoelectric effect was observed and proved by using this simple सा छोटू सा नन्ना सा मुन्ना सा set. आ गया समझ? ठीक है? When light was not there, zero was a deflection. When light was there, okay, there was a deflection, which means current is there in the circuit. Current matlab the electrons are flowing. So from where come those electrons? आसमान से गिरा है क्या? अरे बिल्कुल नहीं. This light is knocking out the electrons from this cathode, which make the electrons to move out and completing the circuit and producing a current here. आ गया समझ? आ गया. आ गया सबको समझ, right? Let me call everyone. Jia, Mithilesh, Choduza, Nannu Munnuza concept hai, right? Nannu Munnu. Clear. Srishti Jaiswal, very good. Bhumi, Jia, Vipu, very good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Electrons are called as photoelectrons. This current produced, we call it as photoelectric current, है ना? Because of this photoelectric effect, a current is produced in the circuit, है ना? उसका नाम है photoelectric current. ठीक है? फिर now this cathode is releasing the energy, ठीक है? And this anode is receiving the electrons, right? So ठीक है. Now they started to learn, okay? They started to make the analysis of this photoelectric effect. मतलब once the frequency of this light is changed, what is happening this photoelectric effect? ठीक है? Once the intensity of this incoming light is changed, what is happening to this photoelectric effect? ठीक है? Once the potential of this particular cathodes and anodes are being changed, what is going to happen to this photoelectric effect? They started to make a complete observation on this. Now, ठीक है, what we are going to learn is, right, what all studies is being made by this Hallwork and Leonard, ठीक है, and what all observation and what all conclusion we can make out of those analysis is what we are going to do now. ठीक है, fine. Now before that, छोटा नाम भी दे दिया है ये दोनों cathode और anode को. अरे electrons is coming out, है ना? So this plate is called as emitter plate, because electrons are emitted from it, ठीक है? And this plate will be accepting the electrons. We call it as collector plate. Okay. Now, shall we start the study of this photoelectric effect with variations of lights and all? Fine. Starting with the first study, how the intensity of incoming light is going to make a change on the photoelectric current. Matlab, from a small value of intensity, right, it is being increased. And we made a simple observation how it is going to make a change in the photoelectric current. Shall we? Dekh le, everyone. We'll take a fresh page and do this. What is it? Intensity and photoelectric effect. अरे नन्ना मुन्ना टॉपिक है मेरा बच्चा लोग, नन्ना मुन्ना टॉपिक है, एवरीबडी कैन अंडरस्टैंड. इधर तक सब समझ में आ गया ना? What all we have learned till now, सबको समझ में आ गया? ठीक है. Now we are going to make some studies. मतलब इंटेंसिटी चेंज हो गया तो फोटोइलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट को क्या हो जाएगा? रोहिणी, संस्कार, everyone ready है ना? Write the heading. And those who have completed writing the heading, give me a high five or raise your hand in the chat box. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Sumit, honey, okay, calculate radio frequency, naya information to every one of you. Okay. Fine, Khushbu, Sanskar, honey, okay, everybody written. Dekh le. Now, what was happening is intensity. How many of you know intensity of light kya aata hai? In simple words, for your understanding, intensity can be said as the brightness of the light. Matlab, more the intensity, more the light will be bright. Okay, fine. What is the actual definition of intensity? Intensity is equal to the light energy per unit area per unit time. That is the actual definition of intensity. Okay. That is not what we are going to learn here. Okay. What we are going to learn here is, right, what happened if the intensity of light was increased. Dekh le. Initially, a small intensity of light I1 was given. Okay. And obviously, the current observed was A1. Fine. A current was observed and it was found to be A1. Now you know what we did? This incoming light, hai na? Can you see? This incoming light ka intensity we increased again to some value of I2. Dekh le, I2 greater than I1. Do you know what was observed in this ammeter? When the intensity of light was increased, it was observed that there was more deflection in this ammeter. Matlab kya hai? It means more amount of current is flowing here, mera bachcha log. If more amount of current means what? Arey, charge flowing per unit time. Charge matlab this electrons, hai na? So iska matlab ye ki if the intensity of incoming light is increasing, current is increasing, which means more number of photoelectrons are emitted. Yes or no? Yes or no? That is the simple result what we can get from here. Matlab, once I increase the intensity, the current was found to be increased to some A2 value. It was found out that A2 is greater than A1. So what is the conclusion that we can make from here? We can make that intensity is directly proportional to what? Number of photoelectrons emitted. Q? Because if the number of photoelectrons emitted increases, only current increases, and that was the observation here. Okay? So intensity is directly proportional to number of photoelectrons emitted. अरे भाई क्यों जा रहे उसी तरह? आ गया समझ मेरे बच्चा लोग? आ गया समझ? So we got the first result here. Okay, अच्छा वाला result है क्या या नहीं? अच्छा वाला result है. ठीक है? So more the intensity, more number of photoelectrons. If we decrease the intensity, less number of photoelectrons. ठीक है? Fine. Now we can make a small graph also between what and what? Between intensity of light, okay, and photoelectric current. Tell me how the graph will be. We know that both of them are proportional to each other. Matlab, it will be a straight line graph like this passing through the origin. देख ले, intensity ज़्यादा हो जाएगा तो photoelectric current भी ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Increase, 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 increase. Zero intensity मतलब थोड़ा भी light नहीं दे रहा है. If light is not there, will there be photoelectric current? नहीं. That's why it passes through the origin. Zero intensity of light, zero will be the photoelectric current, or zero photoelectrons will be emitted. And that was the first observation, and that was the first study made by Hallberg and Leonard. Tell me, is the first study clear to all my bachcha log? Is the first study सबको समझ में आ गया अच्छे से? Let's call Jaya, Anera, Bhumi, Sanska. Right? Very good. Zero intensity. ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है, जल्दी नोट कर ले, because we have to go for the second observation and the second study from photoelectric effect. Vipu, yes? Okay. So सबने नोट किया. अरे नन्ना मुन्ना भी टॉपिक था, राइट? श्वेता, सिमरन, सृष्टि, क्लियर? सबको समझ में आ गया नहरा? ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. कोई डाउट्स है क्या बच्चा लोग इधर तक? एनी डाउट्स? इन पे नोट किया, ठीक है, नोटेड. मिथिलेश, इट्स फाइन दैट यू आर नोटिंग इन माइंड. आई होप यू हैव अ वेरी गुड माइंड एंड अ वेरी बिग माइंड. ठीक है, आई डोंट वांट यू टू फॉरगेट आफ्टर द क्लास. ठीक है, you shouldn't be searching throughout the mind and find nothing there. ठीक है, so it'll be better if you write something on the note also. No, no, no. Sir, आप married है. ठीक है, क्या क्या क्वेश्चन पूछेगा आजकल का बच्चा लोग. Anyway, done, right? Okay. Now we will make the next. अरे okay, so इसके पहले we have to do a simple conceptual explanation here. ठीक है, then we will do those two questions. मतलब here we will learn about frequency versus photoelectric effect. ठीक है, how the frequency is going to affect this photoelectric current and all is what we are going to discuss. ठीक है, everyone write the heading and देख ले. Now we know that incoming light is coming to the emitter plate. I hope you do all remember the figure, right? Incoming light. Now we are giving different frequencies starting from a very small frequency. Let's call it as f1. Then I am giving a higher frequency of f2 of light, then f3 of light, f4 of light, and finally f5 of light. Initially you are giving a chota wala frequency of f1 to that emitter plate. Do you want to see the figure? देख ले मेरे बच्चों लोग, you all are giving or we are giving initially a small light, मतलब a frequency of छोटा वाला, which one is radio waves is having a very छोटा वाला frequency, ठीक है, और infrared is also having small amount of frequency there, ठीक है. So I'm giving a light of smaller frequency. What was observed? Array, nothing was observed. Matlab, there was no photoelectric current observed for that small value of frequency when a F1 was being given there. ठीक है. Now, same was the result है ना बच्चा लोग, if I increase the frequency a bit more. देख ले, initial F1 was there, no photoelectric effect. No photoelectric effect. No P, not potential energy, photoelectric effect. ठीक है. F2, I increase the frequency a bit more. फिर भी नहीं था. No photoelectric effect. Now, the moment the frequency, I kept on increasing, ठीक है, F2 से I kept on increasing. Once the frequency became F3, that was the first time when photoelectric effect was observed. Photoelectric effect was observed. Okay, that is the smallest value of frequency. And if we are giving a frequency larger than that, obviously what was observed? Yes, the photoelectric was observed. So here you can see, when the observation was being made, when the study was being made, there was a minimum value of frequency, right, where this photoelectric effect was observed. And do you know what do we call that minimum frequency required for photoelectric effect to happen? Minimum energy was called as work function. Minimum frequency required for photoelectric effect happen, we call it as threshold frequency. नाम क्या है बच्चा लोग? नाम है खान. अभी खान का टाइम नहीं, अभी threshold frequency का टाइम. Okay, so what is threshold frequency? We will write minimum frequency required for what purpose? किसके लिए? For photoelectrons to be emitted. For photoelectrons to get emitted. ठीक है, इसका नाम था threshold frequency. So this was the second study made by the entire team, and you should be knowing this. Very important. Write it down, everyone. Threshold frequency क्या होता है, what it is, right, and the entire concept. Very good. हाँ, for photoelectrons to get emitted. Sumit, very good. Very good, Dr. Sahil. Amazing. संस्कार भूमि. हाँ, वर्क फंक्शन इज एनर्जी मिनिमम. ठीक है, मिनिमम फ्रीक्वेंसी इज थ्रेशोल्ड फ्रीक्वेंसी. आ गया ना समझ सबको? और निमिष, ठीक है, निमिष तो ले ले. नोट डाउन एवरीथिंग, ऑल द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. क्लियर, नोटेड. विपू, सुमित, मिथिलेश, सब. सर समथिंग सीरियस अबाउट यू इज गोइंग ऑन. अरे मेरे बारे में क्या चल रहा है? टेल मी, टेल मी, टेल मी. Tell me, क्या हो रहा है मेरे बाद, मेरे ऊपर? Who is going to tell me? दिल में noted. अरे यार, take it seriously, note it down somewhere in your notebook. कितना बजे तक? Almost till 9:30, 9:40 तक. Okay, ठीक है. Fine. We'll do some chotu questions, right? Tell me, इसका आंसर क्या है? Just now we have studied. Okay, this is not a big higher level question, ठीक है? Because we are learning through some छोटू things in order to help you relax. ऐसा छोटा question आ रहा है. इसका नाम आंसर क्या है? What is the answer? Photoelectric emission occurs when the incident light more than has a minimum certain. क्या है? What should it be? Yes, it should be having, very good Srishti, Sumit, है ना? It should be having a minimum amount of frequency intensity. Okay, we are going to combine these two and learn together. Fine. D option, very good. Jia, Mithilesh, Shweta, very good. It's frequency. It should be having a minimum amount of frequencies being required. Very good, very good, very good. Awesome. Let me see whether we can do the. Okay, ये question भी कर सकता है. ठीक है. Let me see how many of you are going to give me the answer. Yeah, it's a beautiful question. Let me see. Let me tell you, this is a very beautiful question. Let me see how many of you are going to use your chota sa brain and give me the answer for this. Let me see. I hope you all can see the question properly, right? देख ले. हाँ, side तो हो गया side. I am on the side, I suppose. I hope now you can see, right? सब. जल्दी 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 जल्दी. Okay, Mithilesh is going for the option A here. Sorry, D here. And who's going for option A? Sahil went for the option A. Gia D. Bhumi A. Sumit is D. Okay. Sir not replying. Question क्या था निशु? Pihu A. ठीक है. Gia D. अरे हमारा correct answer 0 है. And it is simply based on that concept of threshold frequency. देख ले. Light of frequency 1.9 times the threshold frequency. मतलब initial frequency nu is 1 point times nu naught. Nu naught is threshold frequency. ठीक है. This was the initial frequency 1.9 times nu naught. Okay. Is incident on a photosensitive material. ठीक है. बढ़िया बात है. Fine. Now if the frequency is half and the intensity is double, what will happen to the photoelectric current? What is happening to the frequency? Let's say the new frequency is nu dash. Nu dash, it is half the initial frequency, nu by 2. What was nu? 1.9 times nu naught. What is 1.9 ka half? 0.95, right? So 0.95 nu naught हो गया क्या? The present वाला frequency. 0.95 into nu naught is a value lesser than nu naught. मतलब lesser than the threshold frequency. मतलब क्या है? Currently the light is having a frequency of nu dash lesser than the threshold frequency. If that's the case, will photoelectric effect happen according to what we have learned? Nahi, bilkul nahi, right? So as it does not happen, the current will be 0. आ गया समझ? अरे नन्ना मुन्ना क्वेश्चन था, right? नन्ना मुन्ना क्वेश्चन था. I hope you all got it. ठीक है? We'll proceed further. So now the next study, do you know what it is? Right, the potential of collector plate and photoelectric effect. Photoelectric. ठीक है. Now, a small study was conducted on the potential given to the collector plate. Do you remember collector plate क्या है? कोई बात नहीं. I'll draw the figure again बच्चा लोग, so that you don't have to worry. You don't have to think from your memory. क्या था sir? भूल गया थोड़ा सा. Explain कर दे. अरे, I hope you do remember that छोटू वाला diagram. ऐसे. Okay, so here we have the plate here, which is connected to. Okay, so when the light falls on it, electrons will be emitted from this emitter plate and this will be collected by collector plate. Okay. Now what we are going to see is what will happen if the potential of this particular collector plate is changed, and what will happen, how will it affect the photoelectric current produced. Okay, fine. For that, let us draw a chotu wala graph here. This is very important. It is very important to understand this particular concept. Okay. So here we have the current on the y-axis, and on the x-axis we have potential on collector plate. Tell me what happens when the light falls on this emitter plate, EC plate, which is connected to negative. हाँ, the electrons will be emitted. ठीक है, electrons will be emitted. Initially I'm giving the color plate, okay, a zero potential. Okay, कुछ भी नहीं दे रहा है, मतलब to this collector potential I'm giving zero potential, कुछ भी नहीं दे रहा है. So what will happen? Still those electrons which have enough kinetic energy, which means it has enough speed to move from this emitter plate to collector plate, will be completing the circuit and still we can observe a current. समझ में आ गया? Even though the collector plate has zero potential, a current will be observed. ठीक है, a छोटा वाला current will be observed here. ठीक है, but the current will be produced by only a few number of electrons. Why? Because not electrons have the sufficient kinetic energy to reach this collector plate. Only those electrons with higher kinetic energy will be reaching there. Matlab, let's say from the 6 electrons emitted, now 3 electrons are reaching. And the current will be produced by these 3 electrons. ठीक है? Now, the potential was increased. ठीक है? The potential on this collector plate was increased from 0 to some 1 value. ठीक है? Now the potential is plus 1 volt. So what was observed? The current was found to be a little more higher. इधर आ गया current. Then I increased to 2 volt. थोड़ा और current आ गया. And this kept on increasing. And after some point of time, the current was not increasing. मतलब 1 volt हो गया, current increase हो गया. Now I made to 2 volt, current थोड़ा और increase हो गया. Once you made to 3 volt, 4 volt, 5 volt, there was no further increase in the current. Current will be taking a constant value after that. And this maximum value of current for a given value of intensity and frequency, we call it as saturation current. इसका नाम क्या है? इसका नाम है saturation current. मतलब the maximum current observed, right, in a photoelectric experiment for a given value of intensity and frequency. Intensity and frequency is kept constant. Okay, this maximum current was called as saturation current. बच्चा लोग पूछ ले, क्यों sir? Why the current is not further increasing? Because potential increase हो रहा है, more number of electrons should be coming, the current should be increasing. नहीं, देख ले, from the plate only 6 electrons are emitted. Even if the potential was 0, 3 electrons already reaching according to our example. Now I increase the potential to 1 volt. Let's say from 6, 5 is reaching. So from 3 to 5 it become current increase हो जाएगा. Yes. Again I increase the potential. The entire 6 electrons is coming to the collector plate. So again current will be increasing. Now even though if we increase the potential of collector plate, there is no more photoelectrons emitted. ठीक है, to move towards the collector plate. So there won't be any further increase of current after that. आ गया समझ इधर तक? इधर तक समझ में आ गया सबको? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है मेरा बच्चा लोग, अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट. ऐसे क्यों है? ठीक है, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है. नोट कर ले इधर तक जल्दी से, बिकॉज नाउ वी आर एंटरिंग इनटू अ बिट मोर इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. ओके, अरे हाउ दे आर रिलेटेड, उसका इक्वेशन क्या है? वील बी मेकिंग अ वेरी थरो स्टडी फॉर द टाइम बीइंग. व्हाटएवर आई टोल्ड, इज इट क्लियर? सुमित, सृष्टि, विभू, हनी, मिथिलेश, सबको क्लियर है ना अच्छे से? फाइन फाइन. सो एवरीबडी इज क्लियर. नाउ फ्रॉम 0 वी वर एक्चुअली इंक्रीजिंग द पोटेंशियल. ठीक है, देख ले. नाउ वी आर डिक्रीजिंग द पोटेंशियल फ्रॉम 0. मतलब फ्रॉम 0 आई मेड इट एज -1. इधर का पोटेंशियल I made it as -1. What will happen? Tell me क्या हो जाएगा? I'll read on the figure. ये हमारा प्लेट है. I made it as -1 now. ठीक है. If it was 0, according to our example, at least 3 electrons were coming. Now because of this negative potential, this electron already has a negative, right, charge. Negative will repel. So in this case, if a negative potential is given to collector plate, only those electrons with very high kinetic energy will be reaching there. ठीक है, मतलब from the 6, let's say only 2 electrons will be reaching. मतलब if it becomes -1, current का value decrease हो गया. ठीक है, fine. Now again you are decreasing the value of potential. ठीक है, decrease करके at a particular value, what will happen? you will see that the entire photoelectric current will become 0. And this value of potential, we call it as V0. इस potential को what do we call it? V0, and उसका नाम है stopping potential. क्या है ये है stopping potential और cutoff potential. Tell me what is a stopping potential or cutting cutoff potential? क्या definition? The minimum value of potential that has to be given to the collector plate, the minimum negative potential that has to be given to the collector plate, so that there will be no photoelectric current in the circuit. Got it? ठीक है? Minimum value of photoelectric, minimum value of potential that has to be given to the collector plate, so that there won't be no further photoelectric current. आ गया समझ? आ गया समझ? So jaldi write it down. Very important it is. Stopping potential V0. What is it? That is the minimum negative potential that has to be given for what? For which plate? Collector plate. For collector plate, so that there won't be photoelectric. Very important है बच्चा लोग, ठीक है? That minimum negative potential का नाम है stopping potential. Everybody write कर ले. कैसे चल रहा है मेरे बच्चा लोग? आ रहे समझ? आ रहे समझ? सर ये कैसे है? स्टॉपिंग पोटेंशियल कैसे? इतना तो बढ़िया बात ही नहीं है ना? जस्ट गो थ्रू इट, एवरीबडी कैन अंडरस्टैंड. छोटू सा नन्नू सा मुन्नू सा टॉपिक है ना? छोटू सा नन्नू सा मुन्नू सा टॉपिक है, एवरीबडी कैन अंडरस्टैंड. अरे थैंक यू सो मच बाबूला. ओके, yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'll just show you the space here. जल्दी से नोट कर ले. हाँ, and बोल दे हाँ सर बिल्कुल समझ में आ गया, and कुछ भी नहीं है which we haven't understood. आ गया तो आ गया, सबको समझ में आ गया सृष्टि. वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड, बढ़िया बात है. ओके, सो कोई भी डाउट्स नहीं है ना? Shall we proceed further? ओके, आ गया सबको, आ गया सच्ची में मुच्ची में अच्छे से आ गया, राइट? ओके, मूविंग फॉरवर्ड. नाउ व्हाट आई एम गोना टेल यू इज मेरा बच्चा लोग, फ्रॉम दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फोटो स्टॉपिंग पोटेंशियल वी कैन फाइंड आउट द मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ काइनेटिक एनर्जी of the photoelectrons emitted. What did I say? देख ले, electrons are emitted from this emitter plate. Not all the electrons will be having the same kinetic energy. Q, because some of the electrons will be making the collisions with the walls. Some of the electrons will be making collisions in between the remaining photoelectrons. मतलब not all the electrons will be having same kinetic energy. ठीक है? मतलब only some electrons will be having the maximum kinetic energy. And this stopping potential will be helping us to find out the maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons emitted. Find out? अरे shall we find out मेरा बच्चा लोग? अरे नन्ना मुन्ना टॉपिक है. Shall we do that? Everybody देख ले. Now we know that photoelectrons are being emitted. When it is emitted, it is associated with a kinetic energy. Yes or no? Yes. देख ले, these electrons which is carrying the negative charge, when it moves to a collector plate which already has a negative potential, what is happening to its potential energy? Negatively charged electrons. Once we provide negative value of potential to collector plate, देख ले, once we provide the negative value of potential, है ना, what is happening to its potential energy? You simply have to remember that equation for potential energy from our second chapter, potential of physics. Array, charge into potential is potential energy. I hope you didn't forget. Array, either charge is negative, right? Potential is also negative. Negative into negative हो जाएगा positive. मतलब the change in potential energy is equal to positive. मतलब when the electrons are moving from the emitter plate to collector plate, potential energy is increasing. What is happening to kinetic energy? Array, electrons are moving towards negative. ठीक है, electrons will find a repulsion. So what will be happening once the electron face repulsion? Kinetic energy decreases. And according to conservation of energy, that decreased kinetic energy is getting converted as the increase in potential energy. Yes or no? Is it clear? Decreased kinetic energy is actually getting converted to increase in potential energy. आ गया समझ? आ गया समझ? ठीक है. Now if you have understood, almost it is over. देख ले. Now if we keep on increasing the negative value of stopping potential, ठीक है. Let's say initially it was -7. Now I increase the value from -7 to -8. मतलब और छोटा कर दिए. But the numerical value is increased. 7 it was, it became 8. Negative value of potential increase हो गया. Now if that value is increased, only those electrons with the highest kinetic energy will only be reaching. है ना? Again I increased the negative value of this collector plate. So only very few number of electrons will be coming, isn't it? Just before the potential of the collector plate is stopping potential, just before it reaches, let's say the stopping potential is -10 electron volt. Just before it reaches, matlab when this is actually minus 9.99999 electron volt, at that particular time, the electrons with the maximum kinetic energy will only be approaching what? Will only be approaching this collector plate. What did I say? The electrons with the maximum kinetic energy will only be reaching this collector plate when the collector plate is having a stopping potential. So simple. When the collector plate is having the stopping potential, the kinetic energy is maximum. So we can say kinetic energy maximum is equal to the change in potential energy when the potential is how much? Stopping potential. So formula क्या है? Kinetic energy is equal to E into V naught, because potential energy का formula क्या है? Charge into potential difference. ठीक है? Stopping potential का time पे potential difference कितना होता है? कितना होता है मेरे बच्चे लोग? वो होता है stopping potential. वो होता है stopping potential. ओके, सो मिल गया हमको मैक्सिमम काइनेटिक एनर्जी का फॉर्मूला अच्छे से मिल गया है ना. काइनेटिक एनर्जी मैक्स, द मैक्सिमम काइनेटिक एनर्जी ऑफ एमिटेड इलेक्ट्रॉन इज E into V naught. Very important. I want every one of you to write it down. वेरी गुड अभिषेक भैया, क्या तुम्हारा साथ पढ़ रहा है? स्टॉपिंग पोटेंशियल जिया हनी नोटेड. अरे वेरी गुड अमेजिंग. ठीक है, सो काइनेटिक एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू E, which is the charge of electron, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 into stopping potential V naught. ठीक है, जल्दी से नोट कर ले. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स वी आर डिस्कसिंग. क्लियर? एनी डाउट्स? कुछ भी नहीं? कुछ इस तरह मेरे फल के. ओके, सो पूरा का पूरा नोट किया, कोई भी डाउट नहीं है. ठीक है, मतलब नोटेड इन माइंड है ना, आई नो दैट. ठीक है, फाइन. नाउ शैल वी कंटिन्यू? ठीक है, नाउ वी नो दैट दिस पर्टिकुलर एक्सपेरिमेंट वाज डन by keeping the intensity and frequency constant. देख ले, intensity and frequency we kept it as constant, then we increase the value of potential on the collector plate and ऐसे ही ग्राफ मिल गया. ठीक है, let's say this graph was obtained for an intensity of I1. When the light was having an intensity of I1 and we kept it constant, this was the graph obtained. Do you know what they did? ठीक है, हमारा हार्वर्क एंड लेनर्ड है ना, वो तो बहुत हार्ड वर्किंग लोगों हैं. डू यू नो व्हाट दे डिड? दे plotted the same graph for a larger intensity. मतलब the light which is made to fall on this emitter plate, it is taken as I2. मतलब it is having now a larger intensity, and the same graph was plotted. Do you know how the graph was looking like? Graph कैसे था? If the same graph was plotted for a larger intensity, देख ले ग्राफ कैसे था. ग्राफ ऐसे थे मेरा बच्चा लोग, देख ले ऐसे थे ग्राफ. सेम एक्सपेरिमेंट, रिमेनिंग एक्सप्लेनेशन सब सेम ही है, ठीक है. बट व्हेन द सेम एक्सपेरिमेंट वाज डन विद अ लाइट ऑफ लार्जर इंटेंसिटी, ये लाइट है ना, लार्जर इंटेंसिटी को इफ वी गिव, द सिंपल थिंग दैट वाज ऑब्जर्व्ड वाज, देख ले व्हाट इज द चेंज हियर, सैचुरेशन करंट चेंज हो गया. देख ले व्हेन द इंटेंसिटी वाज इंक्रीज्ड, saturation current was increased. Everybody can make an explanation for this Q. Why the intensity has increased, saturation current increase ho jaya? Because we already know when intensity increases, number of emitted photoelectrons increase ho jayega. When emitted photoelectrons increase ho jayega to current bhi increase ho jayega. This is the reason why when intensity of light is increased, number of photoelectrons increases and saturation current increases. ठीक है, we'll note it down. वो हम नोट करेगा नीचे. देख ले, when intensity of the light is increased, saturation current increases. ठीक है, which proves that once again intensity is directly proportional to number of photoelectrons. ये तो बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है मेरे बच्चा लोग, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इंटेंसिटी डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू नंबर ऑफ फोटो इलेक्ट्रॉन. देख ले, वन मोर ऑब्जर्वेशन यू कैन मेक फ्रॉम द ग्राफ. ये क्या है सर, वो ऑब्जर्वेशन क्या है? अरे देख ले मेरे बच्चा लोग, दो द इंटेंसिटी वाज इंक्रीज्ड, स्टॉपिंग पोटेंशियल में देयर वाज नो चेंज. Stopping potential is remaining the same. मतलब the potential required to stop the maximum kinetic energy photoelectron is same. ठीक है, अरे if stopping potential is same, the maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons emitted remains the same. मतलब ये कि even though there is increase of intensity, there is no change in energy of the emitted photo electrons. आ गया समझ? मतलब intensity has no relationship with the energy. Once again, intensity has no relationship with the energy of the emitted photoelectrons. कुछ भी नहीं है. What is it? कुछ भी नहीं है. What? The intensity has no relationship with, once again, energy of the emitted photoelectrons. That is being proved here. Can I write it? Very important. What is it, मेरा बच्चा लोग? What did I tell you just now? Intensity has no relation with energy of photoelectrons emitted. ठीक है, ये तो बहुत बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट है बच्चा लोग. ठीक है, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. क्लियर? आ गया समझ? Everything, just go through once again. We have discussed so many concepts from here. I'll just tell you all the terms that we have learned right now. Saturation current, आ गया समझ? The maximum current that can be passed through a circuit, right? Okay. Then stopping potential क्या है? Definition, minimum negative potential, है ना? ठीक है. If stopping potential is known, how can we find out the maximum kinetic energy? ठीक है. Then और क्या? What is the relation of intensity and number of photoelectrons emitted? This is something we already know. Which we didn't know was this: intensity has no relation with energy of photons emitted. Clear? आ गया? आ गया तो आ गया, बच्चा लोग समझ में आ गया तो बोल दे हाँ सर बिल्कुल, और क्यों क्यों नहीं सर, अच्छे से आ गया समझ. ओके, सुपर क्लियर. ठीक है ठीक है. ओके श्रेया कुमारी, अरे ये बुक नहीं है. आई टोल्ड यू व्हेनेवर यू कम टू माय क्लास, टू थिंग्स वी हैव टू कैरी, है ना. टेल मी चलो क्या क्या होना चाहिए व्हेन यू कम टू भैयास क्लास. टू थिंग्स होना चाहिए, ठीक है. एक तो हमारा नोटबुक होना ही चाहिए और दूसरा हमारा पेन भी होना ही चाहिए. दीज टू थिंग्स शुड बी देयर व्हाटएवर हैपेंस, इजंट इट? आ गया तो आ गया, समझ में आ गया, राइट? श्रेया, मिथिलेश, ओके, वेरी गुड, सुपर क्लियर. नाउ we'll proceed further. ठीक है, अब क्या करना है? Now we want to see what will happen to the stopping potential. Once again, what will happen to the stopping potential with respect to frequency? देख ले, frequency versus stopping potential. ये सब वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स है मेरा बच्चा लोग. सो आई होप यू ऑल आर गिविंग सो मच इंपॉर्टेंस, है ना. पूरा का पूरा इंपॉर्टेंस दे रहा है ना सबने, ठीक है, दे रहा है तो देख ले. नाउ व्हाट वाज द ग्राफ बिफोर? ग्राफ कैसे था? आई जस्ट रीड आउट द ग्राफ व्हिच वी हैव लर्नड. सो हियर वी हैव फोटोइलेक्ट्रिक करंट, ठीक है, एंड हियर वी हैव द पोटेंशियल ऑन the collector plate. ठीक है, when it is increased, initially current increases, will reaches the saturation current. ठीक है, and when it is decreased, current decreases, and when we apply a minimum value which we call it as stopping potential, current तो zero हो जाएगा. This is what we have learned. ठीक है, and this entire experiment was done for a constant value of frequency and intensity. Let's say when this experiment was done, the frequency of light used was nu1. Now the same experiment was done with a frequency of nu2. Same experiment कर दिया, ठीक है. Initially we took zero potential, फिर increase कर दिया, फिर decrease कर दिया, and do you know what was the graph obtained? देख ले. First we'll draw the graph obtained, then I'll tell you. देख ले. The graph was like this. What you can see is, if the graph was plotted for a frequency nu2 larger than nu1, we got that the saturation current remains the same. What is it? Saturation current remains same. And if current is same, though the frequency is being increased, what we have to understand, photoelectrons are not increased, because electron increase हो जाएगा तो current increase हो जाएगा, right? If there is an increase of photoelectrons, there will be an increase of current. Here there is no increase of saturation current, though frequency is increased. What we have to understand from here, frequency, ठीक है, nu has no relation with photoelectrons emitted. This is very important, okay? Even though we change the frequency, nothing will happen to the photoelectric current or the number of photoelectrons emitted from the plate. फिर क्या हो जाता है? Once the frequency is being changed, what is being changed? देख ले, if the frequency is increased, you can see that the stopping potential has increased, है ना? Once the stopping potential increase, what is increasing मेरा बच्चा लोग? देख ले, once the stopping potential is increased, the kinetic energy of the emitted electrons increase हो जाएगा. because formula for kinetic energy is EV naught, है ना? So what we can understand, frequency increases, stopping potential increases, kinetic energy of the emitted electron increases, which simply says the frequency of the incident is directly proportional to what? The kinetic energy. So if frequency increases, the energy of the emitted electrons increases. Very, 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 very important है. चलो, we'll write it. ठीक है? What all we can write? Two things we can write. Frequency F is directly proportional to stopping potential of V naught. Okay, if frequency increase हो गया तो क्या हो जाएगा? If frequency is increased, क्या रहा है बच्चा लोग? If frequency increase, देख ले, kinetic energy increases, kinetic energy of emitted electrons increase. ये सब बहुत important point है. Okay, so if we make a small conclusion from here, what we can understand? Tell me, what all conclusion we can make right now? Everybody in the chat box बोल दे. I'll resize the screen so that you can tell. Frequency के बारे में and intensity के बारे में what final conclusions we can make? Sumit, Mithilesh, Jia, Shreya, everyone just tell me. क्या कर सकता है? क्या कर सकता है? Very simple. Intensity is directly proportional to photoelectrons, ठीक है? And it has nothing to do with kinetic energy. First thing. Frequency increases, kinetic energy increases of the emitted electrons, but it has nothing to do with the number of photoelectrons emitted. These are the two things that should be there, right? What will happen to the photoelectric effect if intensity and frequency is being changed? ठीक है, ये तो समझ में आ गया. हाँ, अरे बिल्कुल, both of them are having the same intensity. अरे intensity तो same है. Both are having the same intensity of I naught, let's say. अरे मैं तो भूल गया. अरे thank you so much Mithilesh for asking that question there. ठीक है, if anybody is having that doubt there, it would have been resolved right now. ठीक है, ये हो गया बात है, समझ में आ गया सबको ये? अच्छा, that's very important. Fine, fine, fine. Everybody fine? Yes. Okay. Fine. Everybody. Shreya, Shrishti. Very good, very good. Now I think it's time to make a small छोटूसा graph. पूछ ले सर किसका क्या ग्राफ बाकी है अभी, बहुत देर हो गया. ठीक है, जल्दी दे दे. ठीक है, a small graph between. Okay. Before that, why don't you tell me the answer? इसका आंसर बोल दे सबने. आंसर क्या है? Which of the following statement is true regarding the photoelectric experiment? Photoelectric experiment का बीच में, right? Which all statements are true? Go for it, everyone. Everyone just tell me which of the following statement is true. A. Who is it? Who is gonna give me the answer? अरे ये कहाँ गया? अरे वापस आ जा हमारा बोर्ड भैया, है ना हमारा बोर्ड भैया, वापस आ जा. ठीक. खुशबू is like option A, Shrishti is B. Okay, I'll explain. ठीक है, अभी भी डाउट्स है क्या? ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है? हो सकता है कैसे? All of the above. Statement is true. The stopping potential increases with increase in the intensity of light. Wrong. Stopping potential increases with the increase of frequency. है ना? Because intensity has nothing to do with stopping potential or kinetic energy emitted. Intensity will only increase number of photoelectrons emitted. ठीक है? the photocurrent increases with the intensity of light. अरे light ज़्यादा हो गया तो if we keep on increasing the intensity of light, photoelectric current increases. Yes, because number of photoelectrons are increasing. True है ये. The photoelectric current increases with the increase of frequency. Wrong, because frequency has nothing to do with the number of photoelectrons emitted or the photoelectric current. So वो भी wrong है. Obviously all of the above is wrong. So हमारा correct option B है. I think many of you have answered it. है ना? Very good, very good, very good. Fine. Okay. Moving on. Now, बाकी क्या है अभी? Okay. It's an amazing concept. Now we are going to plot a chotu sa, nanna sa, pyara sa graph between, ठीक है, stopping potential, which is V naught on the y-axis, and on the x-axis we have frequency. Now, how will the graph be? देख ले, if I provide a small value of frequency, will there be a emission of photoelectrons? No. Why? Because you know that for the photoelectrons to happen from the metal surface, a minimum value of frequency has to happen. And that minimum frequency, we call it as a threshold frequency, right? Okay, देख ले. So initially, if I provide small value of frequency, okay, there won't be any photoelectron emission. So obviously stopping potential be zero. Matlab if there is no photoelectrons, no potential has to be given to stop it, right? ठीक है. So this will continue until we apply a minimum value of frequency, which we call it as, नाम क्या है बच्चा लोग? नाम क्या है बच्चा लोग? Threshold frequency, right? Till then there won't be any stopping potential, because till then there won't be any emission of photoelectrons. The moment we increase the frequency greater than the threshold frequency, what will happen? Photoelectrons will be emitted. ठीक है? And we know that after that point, if the frequency is increased, ठीक है, stopping potential will also increases. We have seen that, right? In the previous graph, we have seen that if the frequency increases, stopping potential increases in a linear fashion because they are directly proportional to each other. हो गया समझ? ठीक है? Let's say this is for a metal A. A metal A with a threshold frequency of nu naught 1, ऐसा ही है graph. Tell me where should I be drawing the graph? Okay, or how the graph will be for a metal B. दूसरा metal है हमारे पास. Okay, and this metal B, okay, has a threshold frequency of nu 02 greater than nu 01. How will the graph be? It is having a threshold frequency greater than this nu 01. Let's say this is here. So after this point, if we increase the frequency, what will happen? Yes, stopping potential भी increase हो जाएगा. ऐसे हो जाएगा the graph for metal B with a threshold frequency nu 02 greater than nu 01. है ना? Very simple. Right? This graph also has to state the same thing. What all things, right? That the stopping potential is directly proportional to what? Directly proportional to the frequency of the incoming light. Or we can say the frequency of the incoming light increases the energy of the emitted electrons, because kinetic energy का formula is E into stopping potential. है ना? Simple. और क्या है? What else we can learn from here? और क्या मिल जाएगा बच्चा लोग? This concept. For electrons to get emitted, there should be a minimum value of frequency, and that minimum frequency we call it as threshold frequency. If the frequency of the incoming light is lesser than that, no matter what the intensity of light is, photoelectric effect will not happen. ठीक है? Okay, no matter what, photoelectric effect will not happen. हो गया समझ इधर तक? And this is only what we have to learn for today. Now we'll make a small point wise things what all we have learned till now. and I want every one of you to tell me what all we have learned. Okay, so we'll make some small chotu bullet points of whatever we have learned till now. Mithilesh clear? Jia, Vipu, Hani, Shreya, Shrishti, Khushbu, everyone, very good. अच्छे से समझ में आ गया, ठीक है, क्लियर है ना अच्छे से, ठीक है, बढ़िया बात है, बढ़िया बात है. Now shall we write one by one? Okay, what all we have learned. Sumit, this will be better, stay for 5 more minutes. Okay, you'll understand everything what we have learned till now. देख ले, I'll take a fresh page and we'll start writing what all we have understood till now related to this photoelectric effect. First thing, intensity of light. What will happen to the photoelectric effect with intensity of light? If intensity of light increases, right, the number of photoelectrons emitted increases. We can say directly proportional to what, मेरा बच्चा लोग? Directly proportional to photoelectrons. Photoelectrons emitted. Very important. Okay, second thing. Okay, it has no relation with energy of emitted electrons. दूसरा point, very important. These are things we have learned related to intensity of light. ठीक है, frequency. There should be a minimum value of frequency. We call it as threshold frequency. Threshold frequency. Okay, what is it? Minimum frequency that should be given so that photoelectric effect happens, right? If this minimum frequency is given, no matter what the intensity is, nothing will happen, right? So a minimum frequency that has to be given for photoelectric emission. Then what point we have? Simple thing, that if frequency increases, okay, above threshold frequency, I'm not writing it because you all know. If frequency increases, the kinetic energy of emitted electrons increases. Another important point. And the last point and the last observation by Hallberg and Leonard experiment was there was no time lag and the entire photoelectric effect was instantaneous. What is it? There was no time lag, मेरा बच्चा लोग. The entire photoelectric effect was photoelectric effect happened, ठीक है, instantaneously. Okay, ये तो बहुत important है, and we were learning these much of points in today's class. इतना ही पढ़ा है. If you can do remember, ठीक है, if you have understood, इतना बात है, if you have understood this much of topics, whatever we have learned in today's class, हो गया. So tomorrow's class will be the continuation of this, which is the photoelectric effect का part 2. Okay. ठीक है, आ गया समझ? अरे कितना easy था. So if you have spent the last 1.5 hours with me, I think everybody have understood this, isn't it? Jia, Hani, Vipu, Sumit, clear है ना? अरे कितना clear है, नन्ना मुन्ना सा clear. So simple. I think you were there till the end है ना? Sudeep, I couldn't see you here. नाम तो नहीं था इसी chat box पे. Okay Jia, thank you so much. Okay. क्लियर, नोटेड, सबको अच्छे से समझ में आ गया. छोटू सॉन्ग, ओके, वेरी छोटू सॉन्ग, ठीक है, वेरी नन्ना मुन्ना सॉन्ग आई सिंग, which is my all-time favorite song. Okay, after that we'll wind up the session. पहली नजर में कैसे जादू कर दिया, तेरा बन बैठा है मेरा जिया, जाने क्या होगा क्या पता, इस पल तू मिलके आज ही ले जरा, मैं हूँ यहाँ तू है यहाँ, मेरी बाहों में आ अभी जा, ओ जाने जा दोनों जा मेरी बाहों में, हर दुआ में शामिल तेरा प्यार है, बिन तेरे है लम्हा है दुश्वार है, बिन तेरे हर के दरकार है, तुझसे ही चाहते तुझसे ही राहते, तू जो मिली एक दिन मुझे मैं कहीं हो गया लापता, ओ जाने जा दोनों जा मेरी बाहों में भूल जा. Fine. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much everyone. I hope you all enjoy the class. ठीक है? So I want every one of you to do a small thing. Share the class to every one of you. ठीक है? To all your friends and ask them to join. Okay, all the classes from now onwards. Don't ask them not to miss any of the classes. ठीक है? ठीक है ना मेरा? चलो, खानी, श्वेता, खुशबू, मिथिलेश, विधार्थ, ठीक है, फेवरेट सॉन्ग, गुड टू नो दैट. ठीक है, नाउ सेम चैप्टर ना, ड्यूअल नेचर और फोटोइलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट, व्हाटएवर वी आर डूइंग राइट नाउ. So I am creating a special class for this particular topic. It will be very important. We'll be doing many important questions from this particular part of photoelectric effect on this special class, which is going to happen which is going to happen on this particular Thursday. What time? 4:30 p.m. So it's very important, because you know that the study will only be complete once you attend all the YouTube classes plus all the special classes which I create. Now, to join the special class, the link is given on top of the screen there, right? So just move your cursor, click on that link which is being pinned on top of your screen, matlab chat screen. Those who cannot see that, you can also join the special class by doing what? You all can download the Unacademy learning app. ठीक है, डाउनलोड करने के बाद क्या करना है? गो टू मेनू, ठीक है, एंड देन क्लिक ऑन स्पेशल्स. Go to menu, then click on specials, then type in हमारा code AMB10. You can get into the special class completely for free. ये free है, you don't have to be a plus member, iconic member, कुछ भी नहीं होना चाहिए. This is very simple, this is very free, but this is very important, don't miss it. right? Happens on this Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Don't miss it, right? Now, if you want to get daily notification of all the special classes which is going to happen, right? A link is also being pinned on top of our chat screen. उस पे type click कर ले. You can enter into my Unacademy profile. You can just follow my Unacademy profile. So obviously what will happen? Yes, whenever a new class happens there, you will get the notifications. ठीक है? Fine. Okay. Now, बच्चा लोग Republic Day special offer चल रहा है अभी. So if you make the subscription from 25th to 27, right? If you go for 12-month subscription or more than that, extra 6 month दे दूंगा आप लोगों को बच्चा लोग. वाह वाह बच्चा लोग, वाह वाह. और क्या चाहिए? ठीक है, 6 months extra extension will be given along with 10% of discount. How will you get 10%? अरे, we have our code AMB10. ये use कर ले, don't miss it. Okay, fine. Now, Unacademy Prodigy program, I hope everybody knows it's a scholarship which can help you to get a lot much of scholarship money when you join your colleges, right? Actually, it can help you to win a 20 lakhs of college grant. And it starts from 23rd of, or it has already started from 23rd of Jan, 10 AM onwards. If you want to enroll for free, you all know the code, है ना? Code क्या है हमारा? Okay, we cannot do it there. The code is AMB10. ठीक है. Now, the dates for each exam and for each classes, it's being given here. You can come and enroll accordingly. Fine. Now, it is not the scholarship you're going to get, बच्चा लोग. For the first rank MacBook, Apple का laptop मिल जाएगा. 2 to 3 Apple iPhone, Apple iPad, 4 to 5, 6 to 40 Amazon Echo Dot, Amazon vouchers, सब मिल जाएगा. So don't miss this amazing opportunity, मेरा बच्चा लोग. ठीक है, make use of it. Special class timetable I already have shared you. Now, thank you so much. Those who haven't shown some love towards your bhaiya, this is your chance. Move your cursor, click on that like button and do let me know that you have enjoyed the class. Fine. Okay, share it with all your friends. I'll be sharing the notes in the Unacademy Class 11th and 12th Telegram channel. You all can download the PDF note of the same from the channel. Okay, so thank you so much everyone. Okay, Lucifer, Shreya, Sumit, Shrishti. Okay, Sudeep, why don't you make music with A.R. Rahman sir? ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है, आप ही बोल दे. Why don't you only tell to A.R. Rahman sir? ठीक है. If you get any positive response, do let me know. Okay, honey, Khushbu, bye everyone. Thank you so much. Good night. See you all on Wednesday at 8 PM with the second part of photoelectric effect. Bye bye.